Hey guys, Brian here with Mustang Mod's Ecoboost Garage, and today we're going to be doing an oil change on the 2019 Ecoboost Mustang. Alright guys, so as some of you may know, I had an overheating issue with my car while I was on the track a couple of weeks ago. So I went ahead and purchased this oil change kit from Function Factory Performance. So I was given some advice to change the oil with this 5W30 300V Power Racing Motul Ester Base Synthetic Oil. And also to use some of this MOCOOL radiator additive. It's supposed to decrease the radiator temperatures from up to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. I had a problem with my cooling temperatures going up into the 220-30 range while I was driving on the track, and my engine oil temperature was also getting into the yellow, which is not good. Now, I don't know whether or not this is going to fix that issue, but I'm willing to try anything at this point without having to spend $500 or $600 on an oil cooler, so I figured I would give this a shot, see how it works. Alright, so the first step that we're going to have to do is to jack the car up and get it off the ground. So I've got my jack here, I've got my jack stands, one on each side. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we have the parking brake set. So as you can see, it was kind of tight down here. I would normally like to have the jack right between here or on one of these bolts or right around that area. So I moved the jack over to the bolt because that's a better spot to jack it. I'm going to lower it down inside of the jack stand and make sure it fits right into that little groove there. Okay, now with this side's jack stand in place, let's go jack up the other side. This is how I normally like to do it. The bolt will go underneath the jack pad, and then it kind of locks it into place. That way it prevents it from sliding off when you're jacking the car up. The other side, for some reason, was a little bit too low, so I couldn't do that. But this side, now that it's got a little bit of, it's on an angle, so it's actually got more clearance. So the jack was able to get under there easily. So that's normally what I would like to do, and then once I get it jacked up, I'll put the jack stand underneath. Now that the jack stand is in place, I can go ahead and lower the car onto the jack stand. And I'm going to leave the jack under there just for some extra added protection. Alright, so now with the car up on jack stands, I like to give the car a little shake, make sure that it's secure and it looks like it's not moving, so I think we're good to go. Then, after that, we're going to try to find the oil filter. Now, I already know where it is on this car because I've done the oil change once before, but as you can see, it's also very easily accessible once the car is up in the air. So there's the oil filter, and right at the bottom of the oil pan there is the drain plug. So with the oil pan in place, I grab my 3/8 ratchet and extension with a 15mm socket. That's going to allow us to break free the drain plug and drain the oil out of the engine. Alright, so now that I've got the nut broken loose, I can spin it off by hand, but it's going to shoot out. So I want to put the pan a little bit behind the oil drain plug so that I can kind of make sure that it goes into the pan. get your hand out of the way, and when it's ready to drain, just pull it out, and there you go. Okay, so let's let that drain for a few minutes. But what I want to do is open up the oil servicing cap to let the air flow through so that the oil can drain a little bit faster. Alright, so now that the oil is completely drained out, it's just coming to a drip now. I'm just going to wipe this a little bit and install the drain plug. This one does not have a crush washer. If your car has a crush washer on there, you might want to think about replacing the crush washer when you're doing your oil changes. But this one doesn't have it. So now that I got it finger tight, I can wipe the excess oil off and I can tighten up the drain plug. Alright, so the next step is to get the oil filter out. So I just installed this one a few weeks ago myself, so it should not be very tight. Sometimes if it's been on there for a long time with the heat soak and everything, they will get stuck on there. But you see, I just put a rag underneath here to catch the excess oil that drips off, because this crossbar right here is in the way of the oil's flow naturally. So it's going to start dripping. Just let it drip into the pan. And just let it come to a little bit of a stop, and then I usually try to wipe it off a little bit, and then I'll take it out the rest of the way. And by the way, you might want to wait until your car cools off to do this. I wouldn't recommend trying to change your oil right after you've driven for a while. My car had been sitting overnight, and I went ahead and just pulled it from one side of the garage to the other side of the garage, and even that temperature right here is making the oil pan really hot to the touch. And it's been sitting for about an hour since then, so if it was freshly driven, it would be almost impossible to do this. And you could really seriously burn yourself or injure yourself, so it's a good idea just to wait until it's cool. So now we're just going to spin it off, and I've got a pan here, so I'm just going to go ahead and dump it. Okay, so I've got a fresh can of the Motul 300V here. I'm going to break the security seal. I'm going to do that. And as you can see, it's got another security tab in here to let you know it has been tampered with. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little bit of oil on my pinky finger here and just rub it around the seal of the new oil filter, just to give it some lubrication so it doesn't get stuck on there the next time we go to take it off. Okay, so I'm just going to take a rag and just wipe off the excess oil, the old stuff, and then I'm going to take my new filter and I'm going to thread it in. Now that it's lubricated and it should be good to go, we're just going to spin it on like that, give it a couple of hand turns. Sometimes I like to use a rag, and dry everything off when we're done. The next step is going to be filling the oil up, so let's go ahead and check the capacity. Now, the owner's manual will have all the capacities and stuff, and in this car there's a little flip-down door here that has a secret hideaway spot for the owner's manual. Just to show you guys what I was talking about earlier, there's a section in here that says track use, and it basically says that you can use 5W50 oil for replacement oil during the track sessions. This is all for in the track use section of the owner's manual. Okay, so here we go. Capacities and specifications for the Ecoboost 2.3 liter Ecoboost engine oil. It says 6.0 quarts for the engine oil. Okay, so now that we got the oil drained and the filter replaced, we want to get the car off the jack stand so that we can get it back to level ground. Before we start servicing the oil, we want to have the car as level as possible so that we can get an accurate reading on our dipstick. Okay guys, so now with the oil drained, the filter replaced, and the car back down to level ground, we're going to start topping it off with the new oil. Okay, so now I'm just going to pour the oil in one at a time, fill it up. I know that it takes about 6 quarts. Each one of these is 2 liters, which is over a quart. So it's going to take probably 2 of these and a little bit of the next one. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to service it up with 2 full canisters and check it and see where we're at from there. So as you can see, after 2, it's all the way down to the below that last dot there. So it needs to be more in there. All right. May have put a little bit too much in there, but let's check it out and see. Yeah. And it's a little bit too much. Okay, so I drained some of the oil out, and as you can see now, we're just below the dot, which is about where we need to be. But I was able to salvage some of the oil that I drained, so I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit more in. Okie dokie. Let's check it again. And now we're right on that hole, right on the line. Okie dokie. So that's good. Take that out. Don't forget to put your cap back in. And that's about it. So I also bought some of this MOCOOL from Motul. It's a radiator additive that's supposed to cool off your radiator temperatures by about 15 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So I got this also because of the overheating issue that I was having on the racetrack the other day, and I'm hoping that maybe this will add some stability to the engine temperatures while I'm running on the track. So what I'm going to do is, I was told basically just pop off the cap and pour it right in. So I was monitoring my engine coolant temperatures while I was on the track the last time, and I was getting temperature readings of about 220 degrees throughout the day. So I also bought some of this MOCOOL from Motul. It's a radiator additive that's supposed to cool off your radiator temperatures by about 15 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. So I got this also because of the overheating issue that I was having on the racetrack the other day, and I'm hoping that maybe this will add some stability to the engine temperatures while I'm running on the track. So what I'm going to do is, I was told basically just pop off the cap and pour it right in. So I was monitoring my engine coolant temperatures while I was on the track the last time, and I was getting temperature readings of about 220 degrees throughout the day, which is really high. So I want to see if this fluid actually adds any cooler temperatures to my car during the next track event. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my torque app on my OBD2 reader to see what they're reading at idle for right now, and then next time I go to the track, we'll actually do a comparison and see how much the temperature increases during stressful driving. Okay, so with the oil changed and the oil topped off, everything looks good. I'm going to make sure that there's no loose tools or items in the engine compartment. Get my light out. Close the hood. Okay, so we're just going to give it a quick run to make sure all the pressures and everything look good. Start her up. Alright, so let's go through the gauge here. Engine oil temp is right now is low. Let's let it warm up a little bit. So now that we're in the torque app here, let's go ahead and just check for some fault codes, just to make sure that there's nothing. Okay, 0 faults, so that's good. Back button, let's go real-time indication. Well, right now coolant says 177, so that's 179, but the car is still warming up, so, but that is a little bit cooler than it was showing before. Alright, so once the car warmed up, I took it for a test drive, and everything seems normal. I'm really going to have to wait until I get back out to the track to see if we corrected the issue that we were having. But I just want to show you one last thing before I wrap up this video. We're going to go ahead and reset the oil life. So we're going to go to Settings, and we're going to go to Vehicle, and then Oil Life Reset. You click it, push OK, and then percent life right now says 24, so I'm going to hold down Reset. Boom, 100%. And that's how you do that. And that's pretty much the end of this video. So thanks a lot, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video. And if you do, please like and subscribe. Don't forget, Mustang Mods Ecoboost Garage is always here to help you guys out with the modifications on your S550 Mustangs.